Good morning, everyone. And today we're going to be doing top support analysis on US dollar, Canadian dollar, USDCAD, starting from the 1 month time frame. And as usual, we'll start by identifying our zones. Our zones, as we usually call them, are simply higher level support and resistance. So our monthly zone is simply a higher level, a resistance level, or a support level. Our monthly zone is simply a resistance level or a support level. But the reason why we call them zones is because a zone is actually a support level is not really a line on chart. It is a region of price finds difficult to go below or go above. A zone is a region that price finds difficult to go below or go above. On the lower time frames, it's easier to represent this with lines because the range is considerably small. On the 50-minute time frame or the 1 hour time frame, the zone might only be as wide as say 5 to 10 pips. But on the monthly time frame, it can be as wide as 50 or 100, which is why we call them zones instead of just high level support and resistance levels. So what makes a zone valid is that you can see price bounced off of each of these zones. Price has bounced off of the top one 3 times and the bottom one 2 times. So that makes these two zones valid. You can also see that price has bounced off of this level twice. So that makes these two zones valid. We have another zone here. This is your monthly zone. Because as you can see, price bounced here, came through, then bounced here again. So these are our relevant zones. We have another zone here. We have another zone here. So I also draw a trend line. I draw a trend line across these points like this. But this trend line has just been broken through. But price can still retest the back of the trend line. Trend lines are basically the same as support and resistance levels. Sometimes they can be called diagonal support and resistance levels. So you can see price found support on this trend line here. Price found support on this trend line here. But then price broke through this trend line, and then price this trend line that was acting as support level is now acting as a resistance level, pushing price down to here. So trend lines are basically support and resistance levels that are diagonal, that is, let's say, slanted, for sake of simpler English. So we've gone down to the weekly time frame. The next thing we're going to do is to identify our weekly zones as well as any potential trend lines that we can draw. Then we'll delete this, and then we can draw this and draw a trend line across these 2 points. So this is now going to be our weekly trend line. Let's zoom out a bit and see if there are any levels that we should be mindful of. There seems to be a zone here. I'm not sure specifically here, right around here. We have another weekly zone here. Alright, now let's go down to the daily time frame and do the same thing again. We'll identify our zones and identify any potential trend lines that can be drawn. We have a daily zone here, because as you can see, that point has been tested multiple times as a support level. We have a daily zone here, because that point has been tested multiple times as a support level, sorry, as a resistance level. You can even see that this daily zone here, hold on, this daily zone here, we can move it all the way here. You can see that it acts as a resistance level before acting as a support level. Let's see if we have anything else. See anything else? Very daily zone here. Okay, so that's it. Now we want to identify our trend origin. But in my opinion, I think that we might have a new trend origin that has just started. And then go down to the 4-hour time frame and see how the price action looks here. Okay, so I'm a little bit uncertain. I can draw a daily trend line here, but I'm a little bit uncertain of where I should draw my trend origin, because price was in a downward trend like this, impulsive correction, impulsive correction, impulsive. And then let me change the color of this guy to red. And then price made this move, which broke the structure, leading us to a change of character. But now price is now going bearish like this again. So whether price is going like this with the intention of continuing to rise, or if price is going like this with the intention to continue to fall, at this point in time, at this current price action, I actually cannot tell. If I were to identify, let me hold on. If I were to identify this blue box as my trend origin, you can see from this red line here that the trend that originated from this blue box has already ended. Trend line as the market structure have been broken. Not just one level, but 2 levels of the market structure have been broken at the complete end of that trend. So presumably a new trend is forming right now. So whether this trend will continue in an uptrend since the downward trend has been broken, or whether this trend will be a downward trend, that remains unclear at the current time. But let's go down to the 4-hour time frame and identify our trend origin there. Even though we can't identify trend origin there, I'll go down to the 4-hour time frame, and then we can mark this out as our trend origin. The only thing is I prefer to mark out my trend origin on the daily time frame. I prefer to mark out my trend origin on the daily time frame because I believe it's better to take note of the daily trend. So this is what we currently have here. Let me change the color of this to black. So this is now our higher, our lower high. Now this is now our lower low. Just one lower high and one lower low. You see that there's not much detail here. So switch here. Let's see if there's any pattern that appears. Here we can see we have an M pattern here, but at the same time we also have a range because price was stuck between these 2 points for an extended period of time. So whether to identify an M pattern or a range is difficult to tell. And here, let's switch to the line chart. I'm not noticing any particular pattern that appeared here. I think there's a small W pattern that appeared here. But right after that W pattern appeared, an M pattern follows it up right here. Similarly here we have an M pattern. But the problem is that maybe I should be looking at this as 2 M patterns side by side rather than just a single M pattern. If I'm seeing it as 2 M patterns side by side, then that means that whenever I see an M pattern, I should be expecting price to tank. Whenever I see a W. Anyways, right now the trend direction is clear, but I'm not able to build a market structure around it. The trend direction is clear, but I'm not able to build market structure around it. Sorry. I can build market structure around it, but nothing. Okay. I think for the sake of safety, it would just be better to stay out of this trade. But at the same time, if you are willing to take the risk, if you are willing to take the risk, you can take a trade from around here. The only problem is that targets say here,